pitches when it matters. And, I think that was just a testament to kind of who he is as a person and who he is as a player. He's the man. But I also think about how much fun that would be to like just know that you're the best player on earth.
先発、ブルペンと大車輪の活躍のロブレスキ選手が人気ポッドキャストに出演しました。ワールドシリーズのあわや乱闘の理由や山本の人間性、また大谷の前だと緊張してしまう理由を熱く語りました。
Hey, Justin, great to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you today, and how was your off-season heading into camp here?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad to be on here with you guys. Off season's been great. It's starting to ramp up. So short off season, but that's kind of how you want it, right? So it's been good.
How do you handle that, the short off season? Was there anything done differently for you to make sure that you felt okay heading into camp here? And it seems like one of the themes for the Dodgers in general will be, let's be careful with everyone. It's a marathon, and that plan worked for them in 2025, right?
Yeah, I think answering your first question, I think I had some good experience with it last year. I know I wasn't on the postseason rosters and everything last year, but I was still at Stay Hot Camp, staying ready for the season. So I kind of had a little bit of taste of how to do that and how to kind of work through a little bit shorter of a time to get ready, especially with us going to Japan last year. So this year's a little longer than that, a little more time than that. So I think kind of figuring that out last year helped, and then just kind of more of the same this year.
Does it help or hurt you, Justin, that you're there early? You kind of mentioned it that you had to be there early last year for the Japan series, but with the WBC, you're there early. I'm guessing you're in camp. Did you guys report yet? I don't know. Have you guys reported
Our
yet?
report tomorrow is the official physicals and all that fun stuff. So, but a lot of guys are already out here.
That's what I thought. So does that help you or hurt you? Because it does condense the offseason, but it also makes you throw more. And for someone like you, it also in spring training, because some of your guys aren't going to be there. The Dodgers, we know, don't push everybody. Gives you a chance to maybe get a few more innings and show them more of how valuable you can be.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I think to each guy it's different. I personally am not a guy that takes a ton of time off. I've tried it really one off season in my professional career, and I didn't really like the way I felt coming out of it. So for me, it's like this year, for example, I took probably a week and a half off, and then I was thrown again. So I don't love to take a ton of time off. I feel like I lose feel. I feel like I stiffen up a little bit, and I think if you look at a lot of guys in the past that have played the game for a long time, a lot of them don't take a ton of time off. So I felt like that was the best thing for me. And yeah, like you said, I think there's a lot of opportunity. Even though we're filled up, I think for a guy like me that can kind of provide, wear multiple different hats with this team. I hope to continue to prove that I can do that. And whether it's in a starting capacity, whether it's in a long man capacity, whether it's in leverage, low leverage, whatever, I think just proving that versatility is helpful for a team like this. And I think also a lot of it with how we run things speaks to the amount of talent that we have in our organization and how good they are at developing guys. Because you look around and pretty much everybody you see is really, really good, and a lot of guys in our locker room and even in AAA would be getting chances with other teams. So it's a great organization to be a part of, obviously, and I think it pushes each and every one of us to be better.
Right. When I spent most of my career in the minor leagues, people would always say, I'd rather be in the big leagues than in AAA with a World Series team. We get to ask you this. You, unfortunately, had to spend time in AAA. You just mentioned it, how good the team is, how, everything. Would you rather be on the Dodgers and know there's a chance you're going to AAA like you had last year, but the World Series, or Justin Wrobleski, third starter in a rotation for any of the other teams that doesn't quite have the best chance?
Funny question. I've definitely thought about it before. I've been asked it before, and I think you love to pitch in the big leagues. I think pitching in the big leagues is ultimately the everyone's goal and what you want to do, and obviously you get paid a little better too, so that's not bad. But I think being with this team, I think we're going to look back 10, 15 years from now and be like, man, that was a special thing to be a part of. And not everybody gets the chance to pitch in postseason games and be a part of these, postseason runs. And, I've been a part of 2 teams that have won World Series now. So it's hard to say. I definitely wouldn't trade the rings for the world. I love to win. I love to, get that feeling and kind of pitch in games that matter. And it's also tough because at the same end, like, yeah, I'd love to, be starting games and kind of get the chance to do that. And, but I think, I love to win. So I think wherever I go, I want to win. And I know that's not always the case a lot of places, but just wherever I'm going to get opportunity, whether it's here, whether it's somewhere else, whether it's anywhere, I think, you want to win. And I think it's hard to, trade stuff that you can't really put a price on. So I think, final answer, I think I'd rather be with this team than any other team, just because it's a really, really special thing to be a part of.
Justin, don't lie. Someday you'll be a part of Team Poland. I'll be the manager, and that'll be like 2030 in the WBC. So that will take over all of this rest of this World Series crap you're talking about.
Exactly. That'll be
WBC
number one.
means
That'll be
so
number
much
one.
more. Yeah,
That'll
for
be
sure.
number one.
For sure. Scott and Eric say that WBC means more than the World Series, but we don't have time to get into that. We'll just let you enjoy your 2 rings, okay? But I do want to go back to the World Series. I do want to go back to the World Series because you had two really important things that you did in this World Series. One, you pitched in the 18-inning game, and you pitched in like the sixth and 7th inning, and then it went 11 innings, and you had nothing to do. So I want to know what you were doing. And then 2, we used to have Andres Jimenez on here all the time. Why did you throw at him, and why did you start a fight with him? Because he's like the nicest guy in the whole world.
All right, so question number one. During that game, it was kind of like, it was pretty funny because, like, after you come out of the game, honestly, for me, it's like during the game, you're fine, like, because that's kind of your realm. Like, you're kind of in control of what's going on. You're in control of your, prep and getting ready and all this and that. And, then you go in the game and you're still in control there because, like, that's what you do. That's your domain. I think for me, I like to think of it as like, I am there to perform. I'm there to pitch my best. I'm there to, do all that. And so just kind of you're in that mindset, that mode that you get into when you play. And then when you come out, it's like, there's a lot more nerves there when you come out than when you're in the game. So I was just kind of hanging with the boys, really, the crew that was there that wasn't on the roster. And we just had a great group and just kind of hanging out, watching the game, doing anything we could to try and get some runs, outfit changes, shoe changes, all this and that. And it finally ended up working. We would have won the game probably about 3 or 4 times if the marine layer wasn't so heavy that night. Like, I think Teo had a ball that was scorched. It's a home run most days. Freddie even had one earlier in the game that probably would have been a home run most days. But it was real heavy and kind of cold that night. So, like, not cold, but like LA chilly, whatever. So the ball wasn't flying as much. And yeah, but it was a really crazy experience. And then what obviously Will ended up doing in that game was crazy, and just kind of watching it all unfold was wild. That's my answer number 1. Number 2, obviously, once you get to someone at 2 strikes, that is the best time to throw at them. No, but like, I'm not trying to throw at anybody. My second back-to-back of my career, obviously came up as a starter. I'm sure that had something to do with it. I'm sure, World Series juice had something to do with it. And yeah, unfortunately, just had 3 go. My miss is up and arm side, and usually people get out of the way, and he tried and he didn't, and it hit him, and I wasn't trying to hit him, but he was upset, and obviously it's a heat of the moment thing. Like, you're both out there competing, and he said something to me, so I said something back, and yeah, it's just the game we love, right? Like, it's just, you're out there competing at the highest level in the biggest moments, and sometimes, I'm sure he'd probably say something similar. You just kind of black out and stuff happens, and that's the game, and that's why we love it. But yeah, obviously there's no intent there, and it's kind of crazy that it all happened on that stage, because I think that's the first time the benches have ever cleared with me on the mound or anything like that has ever happened. But that's just kind of who I am when I'm out there. I think I have to be more of like I don't know, it's hard to explain, but some guys have to be real calm. I'm kind of the opposite of that, and that's just something you learn as you play.
You did say that was your first back-to-back, correct?
Second, I had one against Cincinnati, I believe, but I think the second part of that back-to-back was like a third or something.
Okay, so take us to the end of Game 7 when Yamamoto came out and was like, Robleski, here's a back-to-back. I'll take care of this.
It was the coolest shit I've ever seen. I'm excuse my language, but it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. I remember because that game, obviously I was a little more like, if game 3, the one that went really long, like I was nervous when I came out of the game. Game 7, it was like, oh my gosh, like I still had a good feeling we were going to win the game, but like the way that game happened was just, I get chills just talking about it. Like so many cool things happened. And, I'm in the weight room, and in Toronto, the weight room's kind of right next to the dugout right there, in the new renovations or whatever. And, so I'm I was pacing in the weight room, and, I see the lights turn off, and I look up, and I was like, is that Yama like running in? And it sure as hell was. And, he came in and just crazy, man. Just, he's a dog. He's, worth way more than what he's paid. Even if he's being paid all these millions of dollars, he's a dog. He's not like the traditional, like what you think of as like an ace type pitcher. Like he's not. He's just a special talent, man. His ability to manipulate the ball, and his ability to, make pitches when it matters. And, I think that was just a testament to kind of who he is as a person and who he is as a player. He's the man. And I was really, really super, honestly, not only like, was it the coolest thing I've ever seen, I was just super happy for him because, he deserves, every moment like that, because he's just the man. And it's been fun to see him work the past couple of years.
All right, you had a Hall of Famer in your bullpen in the World Series. Did you ever look over at Kershaw and go, like, how is this for this guy? Like, I get it. I've been starting in AAA. This guy's been starting in the show for decades. Like, how is he in the bullpen? And did you guys have to kind of like, hey, relax, Clayton. Like, this is a long game.
Yeah, it's funny because, Sheehan was the same way. She he'd be in the bullpen. I remember the first couple of games when he was down there, it was just like, for a lot of those guys that they've been starting forever, it's like a little bit of like they don't know what to do with themselves, because when you're starting, you have such a like regimented, like, I'm doing this, then I'm doing this, then I'm doing this, then I'm doing this, and then the game started, and then you're just pitching. But in the pen, it's just like a big, like, there's just a lot more anxiety, a lot more, and if you haven't experienced it or learned how to like work through it or use it to your advantage, it's tough. And I think, Kirsch, even this being his last year, it was just like, he was still trying to learn from the guys that were down there on how to do it. And, even asking younger guys like, Jack and I and whatever, like, that's one thing I noticed about Kirsch is like, he was always willing to learn. And that's kind of, again, another thing that makes him great is I think he was always willing to change things and do things to make himself better, no matter, who it was from. And that was something I thought was really cool about him, is he was just asking around everybody, like, what do you guys do? What do you guys do? Just kind of figuring it out. And obviously he did a good job, and, came in and got that huge out in the long game, and then was about to come in there in that game 7. So, but yeah, it's funny. It's a tough transition to make. I think it's easier for some guys than others for whatever reason. And, but yeah, it's a crazy thing. And it was really crazy to kind of, look over there and sit in the bullpen with Kirsch at the end of his career. And it's just like, what is going on? Like, cause you talked to me 10 years ago and say, hey, you're going to be in a World Series and you're going to be sitting in the bullpen with Kirsch, and even just being a part of, I'd say one of the best baseball teams of all time in these past 2 years. And it's pretty crazy.
On your team, and I know he's Clayton Kershaw, ever say, Kirsch, dude, keep your shirt on, buddy, for the rest of us dads like me, like, right? Like, I would never just be like, I'm going to walk around constantly with my shirt off at my age. Now, I'm much older than Kirsch is, but did nobody ever say like, hey, Kirsch, maybe today just keep your shirt on?
I mean, you can kind of do what you want. You know what I mean? The guy's got a lot of hardware. He's done a lot in this game, and he's showing it off, man. I mean, whatever it is, it works. It worked for a long time. So,
True.
You know what I mean? Maybe he's just setting an example, saying like, "This is what greatness looks like." You know what I mean? But no, it's you know, Kirsch was big. Kirsch was big on shirtless Sundays and all that fun stuff, and so he's a great guy to have in the clubhouse. Great guy to be around. Just super down to earth, super humble, and just a great teammate and guy that I was so blessed and lucky to play with and learn from, obviously, over these past 2 years, because him being someone that I looked up to growing up was huge. So, but yeah, he's the man. And no one ever told him to keep his shirt on. I don't think anyone in that clubhouse has the right to tell him what to do at a baseball field.
That's fair. That's fair. But shirtless Sundays, I don't even want to know what that meant. So we're just going to skip over that real quick. But here's my next question. I'm not. That's why I skipped it. But here's the thing. Do you think that when in 2029 or 2030, when you're on Team Poland, that Clayton Kershaw will still be pitching for Team USA? Because he retired, but here he is pitching in the WBC for Team USA.
So here's the thing. He just had another new baby. So at that time, he might have gotten out of baseball for a little bit, and then he'll be back ramping up at that time, if I had to guess. So, but no, he's got a lot of kids to worry about now. So hopefully that'll keep him out of our way. You know what I mean? Hopefully we won't have to see him.
And you showed all these pictures of you with the trophy, and you're hanging out with all your teammates. But you know who was missing from those photos? Shohei. Do you have a picture with Shohei? Because I was fortunate enough to get my picture with Shohei about a month ago. So do you actually have a picture of Shohei and yourself?
I don't. I'm too nervous to ask him. You know what
See?
I mean? It's kind of tough to just be like, "Yo, Sho, you want to take a picture right now?" Like, I'm sure, being the guy he is, he'd say yes right away. But that guy's got a lot of things to do. He's got to go eat 6 innings and punch out 13 people, and then he's got to hit 3 home runs, and so he's got a lot to do. He's got media to worry about. He's got he's got a family, so he's got a lot on his plate. So I don't want to bother him with a picture. When he's got so much going on. But no, I'm sure Sho would be just fine if I walked up and said, "Hey, let's take a picture." But at the same time,
even on shirtless Sundays,
I know I was there.
Even on shirtless Sundays, would he be okay with that?
It just depends on, it depends on a lot of things.
Okay.
But you never know. You never know what you're going to get.
That's fair.
Do you feel like you don't? Do you feel like you don't do enough when you watch all the stuff that he does?
I feel like that so there's certain guys, and I think, if you've been in baseball long enough, there's certain guys that are in the weight room for 4 hours doing all this crazy stuff, and then there's certain guys that don't need as much time, and so it's you just have to figure out what you need to do to get ready. It's funny, I've been talking about this the past couple of days to keep your body where you need to be. But yeah, in watching Show, you feel all right, well, my job's not that hard. He's doing all this, and he's the best at both of them. So, but I also think about how much fun that would be to just know that you're the best player on earth. So it's pretty cool. He works so hard at what he does, and that's obviously part of why he's so good. Is he has the God-given talent, and then on top of that, he works really hard at his craft, and yeah, it's impressive to watch. It's impressive to see how he fits everything in and weaves it, and while playing a game where you play so many games in a season, and it's impressive. It's special. It's everything you'd think of him. He's better. It's crazy.
All right, Justin. Last one.